I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul's decision to run for the GOP nomination is putting renewed attention on his foreign policy record. A few Republicans, including Senator Lindsey Graham, feel some of Paul's positions are too close to that of President Obama. Here with reaction are Ellen Ratner, Bureau Chief of Talk Radio News Service and a Fox News contributor, as well as Liz Peek, columnist with the Fiscal Times. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So, Ellen, I want to start with you because if there's anything that it's become clear is that because of the rise of global terrorism, the foreign policy is going to be really scrutinized of any candidate. So, is Paul in trouble over his foreign policy record?
Well, you know, he's in favor, as I understand it, of increasing the military budget, but doesn't want U.S. intervention, a very funny kind of position to take. And the other issue is that he's always been this sort of libertarian candidate, and I even knew some Democrats that said, hey, I'm going to vote for him. But now he is going with his base so he can get the nomination, and the base is, you know, anti-gay marriage and very much more sort of oriented towards investing in foreign affairs and foreign money into wars or to a military on foreign soil. And this, I think, could be a problem for him in the long run.
And Liz, what do you think?
Well, I don't think his base actually is the evangelical Christian movement, which is really what you're talking about there. His base is the Libertarian group that his father really coalesced. And I think where he has a problem is twofold. One, with Jewish voters. Over a year ago, he started an offensive to attract Jewish voters and overcome his father's reputation for being anti-Semitic and, more importantly, anti-Israel, which is very important to the evangelical community. He did his Stand with Israel legislation. He put forth legislation saying that we should not give foreign aid to the Palestinians. So he's really been working on that for over a year, and I think he's gotten some traction. On the sort of more general anti-defense and anti-military position, you know, a year ago, actually 2013 at the end, more than half of Americans for the first time ever opposed our intervention in foreign wars. So he was very well situated with the mood of the country. Clearly ISIS has changed that. And so now I think he's trying to sort of walk back, and maybe you could also argue it's an appropriate walk back because things have changed.
All right, well, let me read you the quote that Senator Lindsey Graham said on CBS Face the Nation the other day. He said, "The best deal, I think, comes with a new president. Hillary Clinton would do better. I think everybody on our side, except maybe Rand Paul, could do better," talking about, you know, the foreign policy issues. There it is. Does Senator Rand, does he have to reinvent himself? And I think, Liz, you kind of hinted at that he's got to kind of form another coalition.
Well, he's already reinventing himself. He doesn't want to be called Senator. He wants to be called Dr. Paul from outside the Beltway. But he is inside the Beltway, and he's had to negotiate as a senator. So you can't just say, okay, now I'm not in the Beltway, I'm not part of the Washington establishment. And the other issue is, on foreign affairs and ISIS, he has got to reach into the American people's concerns, and there's a lot of concern. How do you do that and still stay libertarian? I don't want to see what he's going to answer. Well, I do want to see it, but if I were him, I wouldn't want to see what I'm going to answer in the debates.
You know, if you're any kind of candidate running for president, though, I mean, you're going to take a little flack from the people who are running with you. I mean, your mates in the GOP. But this is a little different here, and so how will Rand Paul respond to this, you know, coming from Lindsey Graham and some other people within his party?
There's no question. You're totally right. He is an outlier. On this one position, he is an outlier. Sort of the GOP over the last several decades has been identified as the more interventionist, pro-military party. Historically, interestingly, that wasn't always the case. There was a very long period of years between the wars, after the wars, when the Republican Party was isolationist. That's sort of irrelevant now, but it isn't like this. This is unprecedented. Look, he is being, in my view, pragmatic. If Americans feel that our security is at risk, and by the way, he has always made that distinction. He's against foreign intervention unless our security is at risk. He can argue this, I think, pretty easily, that, you know, there are concerns about the spread of ISIS, the ability that terrorism gets exported to the United States, et cetera. Nobody wants him to lie down and let that happen. So I think he's going to work through this.
Okay, so predictions on how Rand Paul fares in the in the GOP primaries? Ellen?
Oh, I just have no idea. I think it really, as you talk, it depends on his base and how many of those sort of more libertarian-oriented Republicans go out to vote.
Yeah.
Well, we know in Iowa it's like 67% evangelical Christians, and he has his work cut out for him because
he's got to reach out to them.
That's not going to be his best arena for sure. Once you get to New Hampshire, that's a whole different story. That's a libertarian-leaning state, and he'll do very well there. His hope is to rank high enough in several of these early caucuses and primaries that he's a serious candidate, and I think he'll do that.
And don't forget, New Hampshire, their license plate says live free or
Exactly.
die. So it is a very libertarian state.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Liz and Alan. Check out foxnews.com for more on the 2016 race. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.